Recording.
Okay. Good evening. This is a meeting of the Hampden Board of Selectmen and the Hampden Board of Health, January 19th, 2021 at 7 p.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely in accordance with Governor Baker's emergency COVID order of March 10th, 2020, and in accordance with Mass General laws regarding the open meeting law. I'll call the roll. Selectman Glover.
Here.
Selectman Flynn.
Here.
Town Administrator Marco.
Here.
Pam Courtney. Is Senator Lesser on yet?
I haven't seen him.
Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of
He's on his
Allegiance.
way.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is anyone recording the meeting other than ourselves? Please indicate in some way through the chat or raising your hand. Are you getting a feedback? No? No.
No.
Okay, can you hear me fine? Okay, all right. So the first order of business will be the minutes of December 21st.
I'm getting feedback now.
Senator Lesser has joined the meeting.
Okay, is Chief Farnsworth there?
I am.
Okay. Well, we're gonna, with the board's indulgence, we'll skip over the minutes and welcome Senator Lesser and Chief Farnsworth. We want to get Senator Lesser back to work as soon as possible, getting money for us. So we don't want to waste any of his precious time. Senator Lesser, welcome to Hampden remotely. I'd just like to say on behalf of the board, we appreciate all you do for our town all the time and your responsiveness. It's really helpful in helping us govern our town and to make things good for our residents. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, well, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
And everybody can see me okay?
Yes.
Good Zoom check. Okay. First, thank you, Mr. Chair. I really appreciate it. And thanks for taking me out of turn here. But I really just, I feel sad, frankly, that we're not all together. Of course, these are the times we're in right now. But I just want to publicly thank and acknowledge my friend, Chief Farnsworth. He's not going far. My guess is we might be talking. We talked a lot when he was chief of Hampden, but we're going to probably be talking even more in his new role and working together even more in his new role. But, Chief, you picked a hell of a year to be head of the Chiefs of Police Association. I don't mean to swear or use words out of turn, but obviously a very difficult year, a very intense year on so many levels: public health, public safety, policing. Obviously has been in the news, has been at the center of the state's debates and conversations for the last year. And, I just want to say, we've had an incredible chief here for the town, and you've had a great spokesperson and representative for the law enforcement community statewide. And we have on certain things had our disagreements, but it's always been done respectfully. And I've always known the sincerity with which the chief brings his point of view and the experience with which he brings his point of view. And I'll say, I want to actually share a memory about him that's unrelated to the state level debates, but there was concern. This was about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. It's blending together now. That there had been a rash of suicides and some concern about mental health in the town. And the chief called me, and we had I think a really important conversation. We met at the police headquarters. Working with him, he brought in counselors, other support services. It led to broader community conversations. It was frankly an example of, him taking his role and his view of public safety beyond, the strict confines of what I think traditional law enforcement is about. and making it about, broader public service. And I feel convinced, and I know it helps save lives. So, Jeff, I appreciate you, and just want you to know how much I've enjoyed working with you through ups and downs for sure. But it's been a real pleasure all along the way. And, on behalf of the Commonwealth, I want to congratulate you. We recently did send you a citation for your Chief of the Year, which was well deserved. So you're going to get another citation. We'll have a collection for your time as chief. But again, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other a lot and still talking in your new role. But I just wanted to come and say thank you, and I want to thank the board. And just kind of pivoting for a second to the town as a whole. I know this has been a very hard year, and I just want to thank the Board of Selectmen and the whole town for your perseverance and your work through so much. So, Chief, thank you, really from the bottom of my heart so much. And I'm very excited to see all you'll continue to do. I would say congratulations, but we might be taking back that congratulations with the new gig, because it's going to have its challenges. But again, couldn't have asked for a better partner, a better person to learn from and grow with over the last several years.
Senator, I'd like to say, thank you very much. That means a lot, and I've truly enjoyed working with you. And I think, you said it earlier, and I think it's so important that just because there can be some political disagreements does not mean you dislike the person. That the mutual respect that I received from you, even though we disagreed on some points, we never took it personally, and you continue to work together for the betterment. And that means a lot these days. And I think that's the way things should be. And I truly appreciate that. And I do appreciate your partnership throughout the town and time and what we've been able to bring back to the town. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
God bless. Yeah.
Do any of the board members have comments?
Well, quickly, Eric, it's always good to see you. You've been a friend of Hampden ever since you were elected. And I have to say, you are in town more than any other state senator I can remember. Seriously.
It's today, like you're zooming in, but yeah.
It's like it's your second home. And thank you so much. And I know you stop by and see Jeff whenever you can. What can we do for the town of Hampden? It's not what can we do for Eric, it's what can Eric bring back to Hampden. We appreciate that. And like you said, the cooperation you've had with the chief, having that communication, and now, it can be, what can the chief do for you? Because Jeff, you're moving on up to the east side, just like it was in the song. And congratulations to you, Chief. Well deserved.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, I
Chief is now on.
think on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I can say that we really appreciate the professionalism and the foresight and that you brought to the department, particularly bring it into a modern age of policing. You've done a fabulous job. We're going to miss you here, but we will be calling you when we need something. So, and again, Senator Lesser, thank you for attending this evening.
Thank you,
Anything
sir.
else?
Don,
Bob?
the incoming interim chief is on the call too. Perhaps we should just ask him to show his face and introduce himself to.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're watching.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Senator Lesser,
Chief.
Chairman, Board. Am I coming through?
Yes.
Well, it's big shoes to fill here. Jeff, not only a personal friend, but from what I see, one of the Chief of the Year, even before he was awarded that title. I want to let you know that I'll do the best I can to hold that place. It's somewhere near the level that Jeff was able to. And I want to thank the Senator too for his time and the board for their confidence. And thank you.
How's the transition going?
Very well. You've got some great people in that department. I wanted to say that right up front. They've been very hospitable and very professional through their demeanor, and I'm watching their performance too. You should be proud of the people over there.
All right, thank you, Chief. We look forward to working with you over the next few months.
As do I. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, everyone. Chief, you're gonna hang around because of the budget, right, Farnsworth?
I will be here, sir.
Okay, thank you.
That's my cue to go as soon as you start talking about the budget. Yeah.
That's right.
Gotta get to another meeting. Let's go.
Right.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks.
Bye, Eric.
Do want to
Thank you.
give a quick congratulations to Bob on a big day tomorrow for your friends. So we're excited for you. That's a not everybody can say they went to high school with the president. So now we know who to call when we need something.
Yeah, right.
We're non-political
Yeah,
here.
he changed to an unlisted number. Thanks. Have a good evening, Senator.
Thank you, Eric.
Let's go back to the beginning of the agenda, the minutes for the December 21st, 2020 meeting. Any comments, suggestions, changes?
Right,
Yep. Motion to accept.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The December 21st, 2020 executive session.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pam posted a lot of other ones on OneDrive, and I think she sent it an email, so perhaps next week we can start picking away at those.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yes.
unless you want to do it tonight.
I've got some printed out. I mean, if other people have them.
Marielle, you want to wait or go through them tonight?
I would prefer to wait and go through all of them. Get them
Okay.
all out of the way at our next meeting. Because we
All
just
right.
got them and I haven't had a chance to read all of them.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you. Old business, under new business, we have Scantic River Conservancy request. Bob?
Yes, this is in your packet. The Connecticut River Conservancy is applying for a grant from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to produce a watershed-based plan for the Scantic River watershed, which obviously extends into Connecticut as well as Massachusetts. And they're including, they just pointed out that they're including the Massachusetts portion of the river. And they're going to be trying to meet with a variety of people who have some involvement or stakeholder types. They're going to be asking for representatives to form an advisory board that will meet regularly in the summer of 21 and the spring of 22. Provided they get the funding. They don't have the funding at this point. They just wanted to apprise the Board of Selectmen what they're doing and basically seek your informal support for the grant project. I think they'd like to have you just endorse it, that this is a good idea, that there's no obligation on the part of the town or anyone in Massachusetts. It's a Connecticut project that will include the Massachusetts portion of the river.
Well, certainly the Scantic is a vital resource to the town of Hampden for many, many reasons. I'm wondering, has the Conservation Commission gotten a copy of this and perhaps the Stormwater Committee?
I don't think the Stormwater Committee has. Pam is on the
The letter was addressed to the Conservation Commission, so I would assume that they have a copy, but I'm not sure of that.
Mhm.
If I may,
Yes.
we have, and it's been in minor discussion, and I have raised my hand to be a participant.
Oh,
Okay.
fabulous. Very good.
Excellent. Excellent.
Solves
We should
two
get her,
problems.
We should get it, Bob, we should get it over to the Stormwater Committee too, though, because, they're doing some work with the, effluents and things like that. So they may like to be interested in it too.
Mhm.
I don't know if we've ever worked with Connecticut before, with a Connecticut project before, but I think this is a great idea to be included. So good luck to you guys.
The backer behind the Scantic River is the Connecticut River Association, which is both states and into Vermont. So they're the main backer for this Scantic River group.
All right.
Good.
Okay, very good. Okay, anything else? All right, well, moving along, we got the citation. Any update, Bob, on the dispatch services?
Yes, the IMA is being reviewed in Wilbraham. They've had their town council review it. I did pass along to them last week some concerns from Selectman Glover. There are a couple of issues. I don't think they are major issues, but we have to work out some language issues and so forth. They're not meeting this week. I don't know for certain, but I'm anticipating that the Wilbraham board will take this matter up, perhaps vote on the IMA on January 25th.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any comments or any comments? All right. The gaming commission funds?
Yes, I did look into pricing for some options that we have on Summers Road. If we wanted to put in a crosswalk, and speaking with the highway superintendent, he said that they could do that project. That would include just painting, however, painting a crosswalk. And that would be something the DPW, the highway department could do without additional funding. If we wanted to go into one of these crosswalks that look like they're brick, or some of the other with the mosaic designs that are hammered into the pavement, that would be more expensive. But all in all, from the prices, I think you have some of these, we can get a crosswalk, we can get lighting above it, and we can also get one of these speed monitor devices. And the whole package would be in the range of $30,000, which would leave $70,000 remaining. Now, let me just bring up something. I had a discussion with the highway superintendent about other ways, other places where we could expend some funds. And he sent me back today some suggestions that I can just go through them quickly. He thinks that the digital radar devices are worth purchasing. They cost between $17,000 and $21,000. And he's recommending them, if we have some additional funds, to buy a few more where we could put in other locations. One of these devices that I was looking at is programmable for messages, so that if you wanted to stop measuring the speed limit and put a message on there, town meeting tonight, you can use that in effect as a device to communicate with the public. And it's programmable from a handheld device. And you see the other list there. He wants to upgrade some guardrail systems, install some new guardrails, and add some reflectors and delineators on guardrails. Remarking of traffic lines, and maybe install additional crosswalks on a crosswalk on Allen Street at the senior center. There again, in order to do that, it would seem like the complementary devices would be a blinker light as well as one of those speed monitoring devices that would warn people of their speed and make the whole crosswalk safer.
Since this,
So we're going to have roughly, if we go ahead with the crosswalk at at Centennial Commons to allow residents to cross over to the market, we can get that done for about 30. We're going to have significant additional funds to allocate. I did send you a copy of a PowerPoint presentation that the Gaming Commission sent out recently, where they discuss possible uses. What we have to do is to ensure that uses of these funds are related in some way to traffic concerns that cause the Gaming Commission to give us the funds in the first place, namely additional traffic or more hazardous traffic resulting from the installation of the MGM casino in downtown Springfield.
That's what I was going to say. You need to have this, I think, run by Mary Thurlow to make sure
Yes,
these
correct.
uses are appropriate with that.
Yes.
Secondly, in regard to the crossing at Centennial Commons, the effort by the Highway Committee is great, but that's aesthetic. And I personally don't care how the ground looks. The warning signs to me are the important thing.
Yes.
And I think reaching out to other communities in Hampden, we have the, I know Pam, you have that kind of broadcast system for other administrative assistants, things like that. Find out what ones they find are effective in their communities. Blinking light 100 feet down, 200 feet down, or whatever. We get one bite at this, and I don't want to have to come back to the town a year later and say, you know, we should have bought that other warning system. I want to find one that worked in Ipswich, one that worked in Rentham, one that worked in, and they've loved it. Never had an accident. People crossed fine, and let's do it right.
Right.
I think that the casino, the implication, the money is coming because of the mitigating circumstances of the casino. And many of the things on the list seem to be in other areas that probably would not meet that qualification, I would think. But I think that the $30,000 figure sounds good. I think we certainly want something that's going to work well. What was I going to say? The digital speed thing, the digital radar device. I've gotten a lot of questions and concerns about the speeding on Main Street and the noise levels on Main Street. Is there any possibility that that could be included in something?
Well, I think we can buy a second one.
Yeah.
They're on wheels. We can move them around.
So that might be address the concerns of the people that live in that area.
I really like the idea, frankly, of being able to change the readout and send messages to the residents.
Right, that seems like a clever idea.
I was looking to see if Chief Marchese was still on, because I know they've used those in Long Meadow quite a bit. Bob, you probably see them there. And the question is, how effective do they find them? Or do people or the kids just use them as a incentive? Oh, look.
I don't think there's any,
Yeah.
there's no one way fits all. Obviously, there's a little of both probably. But they do use the sign function very often to announce upcoming public concerns. And they also have some mounted on poles that are not movement. My own personal feeling on the crosswalk is having the annunciation of a caution light right at the crosswalk seems to be the most effective, as opposed to 100 feet, 200 feet back.
Or both.
Yeah, what we found, I think, with one.
Breaking up,
Oh, we lost him.
Blinking light. So right at the light seems to be would be my choice.
Right.
The ones that are on poles that are solar powered are even less expensive than the ones that are on wheels.
Yeah, and one of those maybe prior to a crosswalk would be a good idea at a distance farther away from the crosswalk.
Mhm.
Do we have a timeline for the completion of this project?
Yeah, the
It has to
timeline
be.
is December 31st of this year.
No, it's December 31st to have a commitment to do something. The actual implementation doesn't have to be done by the end of the year. So we have over a year to get it done. Just assuming that they still have money when we send them the bill.
But it might be good to push up our goal date so that this project can get underway, and because it's been sitting around for a while that we've been discussing a crosswalk there, and I think it would be good to bring some closure to it. Okay, that's it.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
will
not
send
sure how.
you- I will
I
send
think
you
the sign
material.
thing's a nice, I think the sign thing's a nice idea. I just don't see, and Bob, you can check that with Mary. I'm not sure how you can fit that under how that was something to mitigate the impact of the casino travel per
Mhm.
se. It might be something nice to have in the regular budget, but I think you'd have a tough time justifying it as a remedy to casino traffic.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
unless you put in the sign, watch your speed, you're going a little too fast, and the town meeting is, so maybe you could put one of the messages, it wouldn't be the only message, but the other messages could be about driving habits or whatever. So maybe you can come up with a way to do that.
That rolling sign that Bob's talking about is primarily a speed control device that measures speed, prints out reports, and but it is dual purpose. It does allow, just as Mary Ellen said, also notices at the same time too. So it's a dual purpose machine.
Which is always nice to have dual purposes.
Well, it'd be very handy to announce town meetings and other significant events as well. If the board is agreeable, I'll go ahead and get concrete costs to do a crosswalk with a blinker light and one of the speed monitors. Come back with that, and in the meantime, certainly clear that with Ms. Thurlow and the Gaming Commission. And in the meantime, I'll send you some copies of the ads that we have for these devices. You can look them over, see which ones you like the best, and we can try and eventually spend the rest of the money.
And like I said,
I think the money's going to be there, but we
You
may
can
have
ask
to
Pioneer Valley Planning Commission for their advice as well.
They might. Yeah.
PVPC for free will
Yeah.
tell you what they're doing in the Pioneer Valley.
That's a good idea. I certainly think spending the money, I think the money will be there, but why not get it spent as soon as possible in case something were to happen?
Yeah.
The other suggestion that a resident had was that to do the sidewalk from the market down to the senior center. Have we given up on that, or is that a possibility, or it's just not doable?
I talked to Mark today about that, and he apparently did get an estimate a while back, and the cost is going to be in the range of $225,000. So that, right, as soon as I heard that number, I said, well, that's kind of prohibitive.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay.
And was that asphalt or concrete?
That was concrete.
Oh, really? Okay. So it's what, about a 3-to-1 from asphalt, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, concrete is much more expensive, but he and I both agreed concrete is preferable.
Well, you look at what they've done in East Long Meadow and Long Meadow, it's a great look, but they keep, they must have an upgrade program. They keep throwing it out there on every street. Yeah.
The other problem with
Keith, you
that
probably-
would be you'd have to buy the highway department a skid steer in order to clear that sidewalk, unless you were going to require abutters to clear the sidewalk. So there are downstream problems with that.
We also have to figure like when Bob, when you and I walked it, depending on which side, you have business crossings you have to worry about. Or if you go up the west side, you're crossing back to the senior center across busy Allen Street up there. And is that the right thing to do? But if you go down the east side, you have the one wetland area. And I think, Ted, you know where I'm talking about, in front of near Claude's house. And that's a
Yes.
huge mitigation problem right there. But
Yep.
then you don't have a crossing at the senior center. So there's all that balancing thing, which is the best route to take.
And the other concern I have is usage. How much usage do we think that it would get? Would the return be there for us to put that amount of money into anything? Because I don't see many people walking along that way, but of course there's no sidewalk, so.
No.
Right.
There's a lot of walking on East Long Meadow Road.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do
And
see
it's kind
walking
of-
on East
it's
Long
kind
Meadow.
of hazardous too.
Mhm.
All right, so let's focus on the crosswalk from Centennial Centennial Commons to the Village Mart, the lighting, the cost and all that. Let's start with that first before we
Okay.
start constructing Manhattan.
Subway, good idea, Don. Thank you.
All right, all right. The next item on the agenda is Reserve Officer William Joy transferred to Auxiliary Officer. Chief or someone have a comment?
Yes, sir. Officer Joy has asked to be reappointed to an auxiliary position. He is due to turn 65 shortly, and by law, as part of the retirement board, he's unable to continue to work as a reserve officer. But Peer Act has rendered a decision he can work as a auxiliary officer, and he wishes to do so.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Back to Bob, Police Chief search.
Yeah, we have three options to consider. Number one, where to advertise. I can advertise online and you'll get applicants from outside of town. I can advertise internally only, in which case we'll get probably 3, maybe more applicants from the Hampden Police Department. And then thirdly, the evaluation process. For a number of years, probably 25 years now, the Commonwealth has endorsed something called an assessment center, with basically a consultant using professional standards to evaluate the fitness of the candidates to be a leader and a chief of police. It can be done that way. And I think what you ensure there is neutrality in decision-making, or it can be done in a standard way that we do with candidates for department heads. Bring them in, interview them before the Board of Selectmen, and have the Selectmen make the decision. If we were to do an assessment center, the cost would be in the range of $6,000. So those are the three choices.
All right. Any comments?
Bob, you were going to provide a job description, I thought, to the board.
Mhm. Yes, you'll provide a job description.
Well, I'm just saying, before you advertise for, it'd be nice. I'm sure people would like to know what they're
Oh, yeah,
applying.
we can't advertise without a job description, correct.
Okay.
I would think between the internal and external options and the internal, external, and through an assessment center, I think the assessment center would be the one that I would least favor because of the expense and because I think we have the ability to do the job ourselves. Whether it's internal or external, my preference would be internal first. If we can't come to a decision after doing the internal, then going to an external. But that would be having to have absolute deadlines in a timely fashion so that we would not drag this out. I would think we want to have somebody appointed by end of March, for example, or middle of March. So, but I think that would be my preference at this point.
I think the end of March is a good timetable. If you recall, the contract with Chief Marchese is until April 1st or until the board appoints a permanent police chief.
John, do you have any preference?
I would have to say, I mean, I like the internal. You could do both, but it's all up to us as to how we weight it. You know, we could get the outside people, but in our own opinion, we might weight the internal people a little higher because of their experience. Again, with the job description, we need to know, is there going to be a requirement for, you know, how close they are to town? Again, when we went through the fire chief thing, we had a chap apply who was living how far away? When we went through the conservation thing, how far were those people away, Bob? You know, that type of thing.
70
So,
miles, which is not practical.
right. So, I mean, I think it's important to have the job description and, to be honest, have the board vet it. You know, we are hiring something. I'd like to look it over before we put it out there.
Okay. So,
I think that the state, doesn't the state law dictate that they have to live within so many miles of
15
of a town?
15.
Is it like 12 or 15? Yeah, that's what I thought. So
No.
that's already established.
No,
So
that law was actually overturned a short time ago.
Oh, was it?
It is now subject to whatever terms the municipality wants to impose.
So it's
Oh, okay.
contractual now.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe you could say, is it a court decision, chief? Send me that court decision if you will.
Very well.
all right. So Bob, you're gonna give us a job description and send the job description over. And we're going to post this internally first.
That's a consensus of the board. That's what we'll do.
I'm comfortable with that.
After we approve the job description, I think that's the way to go. Sure.
Okay. All right.
So can we put that on for next meeting?
So if we do it at the next meeting, that's the 25th, right?
25th.
Okay. And then if we give if we have a 2 or 3 week application period, that
Yeah.
brings it to like February 14th or something. And then we interview by the end of February, so that by March, either we expand our search or we made a decision. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Is really fast. Because I forgot. We're gonna get started.
Okay. Where are we here? Next item on the agenda is Selectmen's goals.
2 members of the board did some additional work on the goals. So I put them both into the packet.
Well, I think that both Don and I use the same approach. I had on Don's, he used the global goal that I had written the first time. I rewrote another one, pretty similar, but I didn't think that the board was particularly pleased with the one I had written 2 weeks ago. So I changed it a bit. I think if we can, and I thought that maybe we should, our goal, I'm getting some kind of feedback, but anyway, I thought that our goal should go May to May as opposed to the calendar year. Because it seemed to me that you elect new people in May, then you establish the goals for the year, and then you go on. So I put for fiscal year 22, but you know, that can be open for discussion. And then under action steps, or Don and I have, I think we've used the same approach. It's a question of what statements do we want in there, I guess.
Yeah.
You know. So do we want to settle on the goal itself statement, the goal statement itself first? And once having done that, then we can then pick the list of things and put this to closure, or what do you want to do?
So on the goal statement. So what's your goal statement at number one?
The global goal is to effectively and efficiently manage Hampden's resources while maintaining and enhancing town services and mitigating increases in resident taxes. And that sort of tried to incorporate a little bit of what everybody had said.
Right.
The other one that was similar is the one that you put down, was to enhance the overall efficiency of the town's operation and delivery of services, ensure the best work environment, that's a difference, and provide the most economical management of the town's resources. So the big difference is the ensure the best work environment is in yours, and it is not in, and in mine, in the second one that I wrote is maintain and enhance town services. So they're pretty similar. I think it's just
Similar.
wording.
Yeah.
I think it's just wordage. Makes no difference, I don't think, but
Well, Bob, John, you have any input on that?
Well, I did say before, I felt it was important to set a timetable. I think it's important it's all well and good to have these mission statements, things like that. But you should be talking about, okay, on this date, we're going to see where we stand on that goal. You do it in business. You set a plan, okay, we're going to meet again in 3 months. Did we meet our targets? We got some great targets here, but the same thing, and I think I mentioned before, is we need to find a way to lessen the load on the homeowner in town. To me, that's important. We did have some people come to our meeting a few months ago and said, hey, we're interested in a business group, a business community group. How can we go ahead and find some other way to bring some revenue in so it's not coming out of every pocket that I see on the Zoom camera here? We're doing that. We're pushing ahead with the landfill, with the solar project there. That's going to bring revenue in that's not out of personal property taxes. But how can we do more as well? And to me, and that kind of incorporates into your goal as well. Good fiscal management, a way to provide a fiscal balance in town. But I think that's got to be part of the statement as well.
So
I would-
read
I
yours
would-
again, read yours again, Mary Ellen.
to effectively and efficiently manage Hampden's resources while maintaining and enhancing town services and mitigating increases in resident taxes.
Okay. That's good. I'm good with that.
Okay.
And at the bottom part of it, I put action steps and then target dates, which is
Right.
what John's speaking to, and I think that's important. I did not put in, I could put under that quarterly reports from, on each of these. We could do
Yeah.
quarterly reports, and then with the target date. I just put a global target date.
Yeah.
And those
Yeah.
dates can be changed. They're not in stone. And the action steps can be changed.
All right.
So under the second one that I did, I put action steps would be, these are to efficiently manage the resources and enhance services. Okay. I put its communication is a area of concentration.
Yeah.
Staffing is an area of concentration. Facilities is an area of concentration, and the budget was an area of concentration. And then under those, I put various things. But again, this is never an easy task to get this to closure. And the first time you go through it, it really isn't. But, for communications, for example, I said sponsor quarterly public activities, and that would be ongoing. I put assess email and meeting materials, and that addresses the same thing that John had, which was give all the materials in one packet to the board on the Friday before the meeting. So that was the same thing. I said evaluate the use of Zoom, and somebody had put that someplace in there. Oh, John has that on his also. For staffing, I put hire the police chief, conclude police negotiations, assess and implement the Collins study as appropriate, and finalize the town administrator's position. And then the public health agent and nurse under staffing. I could read through these, but I'm probably going on too much.
Okay. So I think the first goal we all agree on, the wording.
Okay, yeah. So that's the major goal. That's the right,
the major
right.
goal.
That's the goal.
All right.
Okay.
And then you can just fit in the things, the action steps or,
Yeah. Okay. So should I do you want me to go through them again and be sure that all the things that you have here are on mine, or all of the ones I have are on yours, whichever?
Yeah, yeah.
And finalize that, and then, and John's was, his emphasis was, just as he said just now, was the taxes and
Yeah.
the tax rate. And
Right.
that's in the global statement, in the first statement.
Right.
Mitigate,
Mitigate,
recoup,
yeah.
Huh?
The mitigate part.
To
yeah.
mitigate part, right,
Yeah.
right.
I had that as goal too, control the property taxes, seek alternatives to steadily increasing taxes, you know.
Right, right. So, okay, how about if, for the next meeting, we're gonna bring it to closure. We've
Alright.
got the first statement. I'll take mine and yours, and
Yeah.
if John has any other suggestions that he wants to add, his to make one statement, okay?
Yeah.
Do we like the action step, target date kind of format? Do you like that?
Yes, yes, it gives us something to,
Okay, and we like quarterly reports on this from the town administrator?
Mhm.
Okay.
quarterly
That's-
reports, John.
Early reports. I just have one concern, and that is, we'll start up negotiations for new contracts with the police patrolman, for example. I don't know that, and we'll make every effort to conclude them in a timely way that's suggested here.
This says April 21. We can expand that date if you wanted to.
Well, I think the goal ought to, I mean, I think the goal could be to have a contract in place for July 1.
Okay,
When the old contract expires, but it depends on how negotiations go. It could be
Right.
easy. It could be difficult. I typically would start negotiations by asking the union for what they're interested in, and then meet with Board of Selectmen and say, you know, what kind of management issues are would the management side put on the table, and then we begin. So,
Typically in the
but
past,
by the same token,
Hmm?
go, John.
thank you. Typically in the past, Bob, it's similar to what you talked about. The board would get together typically in executive session because we're
Right.
discussing a contract. We'd look at and Don, you may have been in this before, we'd look at what areas we want to improve in the contract. And then we'd see, maybe from a monetary standpoint, where are we willing to go? We'd always have a number at the back of your head,
mhm.
but it's almost like
Yeah.
selling a house a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but before, you need this done really before preferably before town meeting, because you want to be able to walk into town meeting and not have a number in there like that could cover. And then
Right.
have to come back in the fall and say, well, we negotiated a little higher, so now we need to appropriate an extra $30,000 because the raise was higher than we targeted. So I think you really, if
Okay.
you're looking to start a date, you should put this on our board agenda. Let's have an executive session for our target. What are we looking at in the contract? What can be approved? What are we willing to give? Set a meeting up with their union. And really, honestly, it's been tuned up pretty well over the past. And I think Jeff could speak to that because he's giving us great suggestions in the past.
Mhm.
And 2 or 3 sessions with the union and we should be done.
Okay. We'll put
Because-
on an executive session then. Want to do it next week, Don?
Sure.
Okay.
So then
Yeah.
for the target date, you'd like May 1st? Or you want to keep it in April?
Oh, I think it's a good idea to have everything in place for adoption of the budget in May, if we can do it. Now,
In April.
every
be
town
good.
is a little different in terms of how negotiations go.
Well, the other part of it is that the fact that it's a target date doesn't mean you meet it.
Yeah,
It means
okay.
that you say, excuse me, I couldn't meet the target because we need an extension. So, okay. And the other thing about the other target dates, I just put the month, but maybe I should put a day. Does that make better with it if you have a specific date?
That'd be
Like
fine.
evaluate the use of Zoom by February 15th as opposed to February?
That'd be fine. What I'll do is ask the board to review the police contract. And for the executive session next week, let's talk
Mhm.
about what the town wants to put on the table for negotiations. And I will also communicate with the union to set up a date for the first session, ask them to bring along their set of proposals.
Mhm.
Got it.
Okay. Do we have a second goal?
Well, we had the global one, and then we had we have goals, we have action steps, which I call action steps, but that are under that. So to be more efficient, we have communication, staffing, facilities, and budget. And then under each of those, we have specific statements like under facilities, it's a fire station ventilation, the casino mitigation project, the capital plan to include the senior center, fire station, highway department, and installation of emergency communication system. So we can like those, not like those, whatever. Under budget, we have control of the tax rate and reduce the taxes, and we have review and assess budget process. What went well, what didn't go well, what do we want to do differently? the
So
next time?
does the one goal that we have, the big goal,
Yeah,
global
yeah,
goal, do we just fit all these underneath it
Yes,
and just go with the
yes.
one global goal?
right.
Yeah, because the others
Right.
seem like almost our tasks per se.
It's like a
not
task
goals.
list, exactly,
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
okay,
It's
I'm
it's
good
a
with that.
task. It's a task that you do to get to the goal,
okay,
okay?
right.
And the globe is so broad that almost anything you do would fit into that.
Okay,
Yeah, you would hope.
So these are actually goals for the second half of the fiscal year.
Well, that's the
And you
question.
have a new set to come for the fiscal 22.
Well, that's the issue. Do you want to go May to May, or do you want to go calendar year? Board members.
Typically, it's been fiscal year. I mean, a goal should be
So
a
it goes-
fiscal year goal.
It should be, it
Yeah.
should be.
fiscal
So,
year,
so these goals we will have for a year and a half. How about that? Does that make sense? Because the
okay,
fiscal year will start, right? We have from now till May and then going on from there, right?
right. Yep,
That makes sense?
good.
Okay, 1.5 years. Okay.
That ought
I'll
to do
read-
it.
Whew. And we can, I may broaden these when I see some of the things that I haven't put in that either John or Don have suggested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
we're done. That's that.
That's it, we're done with that one. Killed that.
We'll put it to bed by next week, we hope.
All right. Police department budget.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
All in favor?
Police department budget. So I asked the chief this before, the dollar figures for salaries he's had in there still includes the dispatch and does not include any anticipated money for negotiations.
Right.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
Which, if you have savings for dispatch, you have more than enough for whatever, you're giving for a bump.
Oh, you
Right.
could give out some very generous raises.
I'm
Good.
sure you could.
We could, but we're not, so,
Right.
okay.
Right.
We could do Methuen type raises here.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
you're saying this is I don't want to say a guide point, but you would anticipate if we have all our work done by the time town meeting rolls along, these numbers would be, I would say that I'm talking about the top three numbers. Obviously, the rest of it is pretty straightforward. Would be changed. We'd have a chief contract. We'd hopefully, by the time town meeting rolls along, have a much better sense of what the patrol contract would be.
Yes.
It might modify the career incentive, obviously with different hire, things like that for next year. Cruiser, it is what it is. I mean, you can make that case, and the rest of it seems pretty straightforward. I would say, Don, I mean, the building expenses you're on top of it. You know what's happening, and you could give out jackets and turn down the heat, but if you don't want to, you don't want to. I understand that.
It really, this budget is really pretty much a placeholder until, you make the decisions. Obviously, the dispatch is still in there because, there's no signed contract yet. So I just thought it wouldn't be prudent to put that in until there's actually a signed deal.
Yeah.
The budget is all set up. I've been over it with Kathy and Chief Marquise. So once the board makes a decision on any type of raises, it's a simple adjustment that will populate through the rest of it. So it's all set up, ready to go. You'll see a small increase right now in the general salaries line item. And that was simply because minimum wage was raised. And, people that, reserves that come in and train and things like that are all paid minimum wage. So any costs that we knew were going to change, they've been changed. But obviously the biggest driving factors, as you said, is the general salaries line item is the biggest driving factor.
Right. If we did no change in dispatch right now, that would be, to be honest, that besides adding the cruiser back in, would be the major change here.
Yes.
Whatever. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, Chief, thank you.
You're
Thank
quite
you,
welcome.
Jeff.
Well, good evening. Selectmen's reports?
Basically, planning board, we had a couple different issues that came up, one of which is Kibbe Lane. They don't really have a good sense right now if that's going to be brought for acceptance. They're still working with the developer on possibly bonding issue. And they'll have more for the board. There's a possibility it might be on the warrant this year. There's another possibility it might pass another year.
All right.
The, I met with the library on the kiosk issue that came up last week.
Yeah.
Their board met on Saturday. And their position really was that they never intended this arrangement to be permanent. It was going to be a temporary fix just to address the COVID kind of thing. They had concerns that if we put something there that was permanent, it might be a discouragement for people coming into the library once COVID is over. And that they envisioned that COVID was going to be over in the spring, early summer. So they're hopeful that this is how long this is going to go on. They have moved where that site is to the back of the building. But they were not particularly supportive of doing a kiosk. So that's where they're at. And the second issue that they brought up was that they would like to reserve the auditorium every Thursday for the entire year. And they wondered if that was going to be possible because they'd like to plan programs and they would all fit into that one slot. Somebody would be responsible for Thursday nights to go to those meetings, or whether they're doing yoga or whether they're doing whatever. And I didn't know if that was something that they could do or if that was a problem. So I said I would carry that message, and that's what I'm doing. So can they reserve the room for every Thursday for the rest of for a year? Is that a problem, Bob? Or anybody?
I think it's too early to say. We don't even know when the town hall is going to be open for, to be honest, general use. Right now, what I would hope that we were going to be talking about was the ability to have a, so to speak, Zoom room for all boards to use in a general way. What I think I emailed out about that. So to say, hey, we can commit that Thursday in a regular year, probably so. Right now,
Yeah,
we have Thursdays in March is open yet. Who knows?
Okay.
We haven't even opened the senior center yet.
Okay.
They were going to have programs. I'm fine with it when things go back to normal, whenever that is.
I think they must mean, they didn't say when it goes back to normal, but I think they must mean that because they know they can't get yoga classes in there now. So, or whatever the thing is that they want to do. But I will bring that back. In a regular year, it will be okay. We're going to wait till COVID, the COVID welcome goes to someplace else. Okay. So I will tell them both of those things. And then the kiosk thing, we'll just wait on until they want to come back, or what do we want to do about the kiosk thing?
Well, if they're not interested, they're not interested.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Not going to force it on them.
Okay. All right. They were pleased. They were pleased that Doug Boyd brought up the suggestion. They said he's always been a strong supporter of the library, and they were receptive to the idea, to receiving a suggestion. They were also pleased that we were including them in the discussion. So those were positives of the meeting, and I just didn't think that they just wanted this to be a temporary thing and get people back in the library like it used to be. They want life like it used to be.
Yeah, I can see their point. They want people to come in.
Yeah.
That's what the library is about,
Right.
Yeah.
In the fire department, I sent you an email, I believe, forwarded you an email from the chief. They received a $2,500 MEMA grant, in which they're going to use to buy some poles, some equipment poles, axes, some scene light and battery powered reciprocating saw. They also got a $2,700 hazmat MEMA grant that's going to allow them to purchase individual CO2 detectors and some other protective equipment. They've applied for a senior safe grant and they expect to receive that. That'll be $3,000. And a secondary grant, which will provide them with some thermal imagers, portable generator, 12 safety cones, 25 safety vets, and additional flashlights. And then they've applied for two big grants. One is a FEMA grant, which is for a Cascade machine, which will fill up their oxygen tanks. That's $80,000. They've applied for that. And then as the chief said, that they applied for the lottery by applying for a grant for a 3,000 gallon tanker truck for $360,000. He says, if you get that, it's like hitting the lottery. I said, well, good luck to you. So,
Powerball ticket.
all right. So that's where they are. But I think it's good that they're pursuing these grants.
Mhm.
They're picking up a lot of money to take care of equipment that they need and, show some good leadership over there. So, all right. We have anything else?
Well, I did send out an email about the possibility of, really, we
Oh,
do
the
have some
Zoom
boards
room.
that don't have the Zoom room, basically. I think there's some good options for using the auditorium for that. There are cheap projectors that attach to a laptop. Every board could have their own. They could project on the stage, you rearrange the tables, and we have one setup that everybody's used to using. We're doing pretty good on the Zoom thing, but other boards don't have the facilities to do it. And I think people notice. And we don't want to give the perception that we're not interested. We are. So we should make it easy for other boards to be online. And that's why I emailed, maybe Bob could look into that with Valley or with
Right.
PC Enterprises.
Yeah, sure. Good idea. All right. Yeah.
And we also got the message for the town report, which I will review and give
Oh, yeah.
back to you, so, because I thought it was well done and included everything that I think we've accomplished or tried to
Well,
accomplish.
actually, when I started writing that list, I thought, we really did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, that's good. And what was the other thing I was going to say about that? And I think it highlighted Mr. Marco's efforts for grants and as well as the fire departments.
Yeah.
We are bringing in more grant money, and that's always good.
Okay.
So that's it.
Town administrators report.
Yes, a couple things to start off with. Capital Planning Committee met today, but we didn't get very far because the meeting was not posted. But we didn't violate the law. We're going to meet again next Tuesday. The focus is going to be the future of the fire department, how to engage the public in a discussion about the future of the fire department, relate the future of the fire department with costs and impact upon the tax code. And also, once those decisions are made, presumably by the Board of Selectmen, then we can make a decision about which of the options in the Mitchell Associates report is best for the department. I did give copies, or I posted copies of the Mitchell Associates report on the website for all the committee members to read. Also, we sent out to all department heads and boards and committees a request for capital items by the end of the month, and also a list of guidelines for capital items. What constitutes a capital item, and what the criteria will be for judging whether or not a capital item is needed and when it's needed. Is it needed this year or next year, or can we wait 3 or 4 more years? Okay. So that's capital planning. Impact bargaining was supposed to occur today. The representative from the union, Mr. Griffin, contacted me and said that they can't attend today because their attorney was going to a funeral So we have rescheduled the second session of impact bargaining for the 26th at 2 o'clock. That'll be next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. We did also have a Zoom conference on the 12th with Wilbraham and Long Meadow to initiate a discussion about replacement of our health agent and health inspector, who is retiring in August. The Munson TA was supposed to be on the call as well, but he was not available, and I've learned that he has taken another position. So we're going to continue that kind of discussion. I should tell you that the town of Wilbraham also has an interest in discussing a public health nurse, which would be shared as well. I mentioned we provide the standard form. I got a call today from the staff person for our state representative, Representative Shea or Ash, and they're asking if the Thornton Burgess School can be a vaccination site. So I would ask the board right now just what your opinion is, because I'll convey that tomorrow. And if you're agreeable, that may very well be a COVID vaccination site.
I think you have to look at the lease first and check it with the, can we do that?
Otherwise, would there be any objection to that?
No, I would
No,
think,
I think it'd be great.
Right.
It'd be
I
great.
think it'd be
But,
fine
but
too.
they could go to, if we can't give that permission, the region certainly could, couldn't they?
Sure.
So it's just the region leases it from us, so
Right.
if they called the region said, yes, you can do it, and we said, yes, you can do it, then it's a do it. And be a great convenience to residents, and everybody be thrilled to be knowing that vaccinations are coming to us.
Right. Yeah. I was told that there would be a site in East Long Meadow that would be available for communities in the region. Apparently, that's not going to be the case.
No, that's what I heard too.
So,
all right,
so starting tomorrow.
So our position is we're okay with using Thornton Burgess, but it would probably have to go to the region, but you have to check the lease first, right?
all right.
Okay,
I agree with
Okay.
that.
okay.
Okay, on the
Tomorrow.
28th,
Yep.
28th, there's going to be a district Veterans Affairs meeting run by Mr. Green. And I'm going to set it up. It's going to be a Zoom conference to discuss Veterans Affairs departments and what needs to be done or what's not getting done. We have two important meetings involving the Municipal Vulnerability Project. One is going to take place on Thursday between 12 and 4 o'clock. That's the 21st. And there's going to be one the following week. I have said to them that I think to ask any municipal employee to set aside 4 hours to listen to this program is just not realistic. They agree. These are state regulations, apparently. And since the state's given us $40,000 for this study and plan, we're going to have to make the best of these sessions because they're required by the State Department. But for those who are listening, I would encourage them to tune in. A lot of people have been invited, and the name of the goal of this planning session tomorrow and a week from tomorrow, or on Thursday and a week from Thursday, is that we want to isolate those parts of the town that are vulnerable to severe weather events, flooding, for example, and put them into a plan, get it approved by the Commonwealth, and then the town becomes eligible for grants to alleviate the problems. You may have seen today that we also got a bridge report, that bridge on East Main Street. If you looked at that report, there are pictures at the end of it, and there's very serious spalling and other structural problems with the bridge. It needs attention, and it's going to be costly. And once we get this plan in place, the town will be eligible to be a priority community for small bridge grants and so forth. So, you know, this plan is going to take more of our time, but once we get it in place, then the town can get grant money to take care of some of these problems.
What level of participation do they have to see from the town?
I don't know
I
that
mean,
that's
have they said I
defined.
have to have 10 people? We have to have 20 people?
There's no
none of
number.
it.
There's no
There's no-
number, but they did send out sort of a blanket email because Pam and I have had inquiries. What's this about? Why should I be involved and so forth? We've tried to answer those questions. I think it's important to check in, offer some thoughts. And it's not just town officials. They've also communicated with business owners, farmers, so forth, see what problems they anticipate as a result of severe weather. So that's
All right.
coming on Thursday. And that is my report.
Okay, so Pam, we have some items that need to be signed during the office.
Pam? Still on?
Thumbs up, just a thumbs
Yes,
up.
yes. I got
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Okay.
There are a lot of invoices that need your
Okay.
attention.
They're all on the desk. They're all on the desk there.
They're all on the desk. Yep.
All right, thank you. So next week,
I get to read
for our agenda, we have all those minutes. We have an executive session for the negotiations, police contract negotiations, preliminary thoughts about that. What else do we have on there?
Didn't we have a public statement we thought we were getting to release?
We have the statement.
I thought we were gonna put that out, Don, no?
On what?
From Ed.
On the school case.
I haven't seen a statement. I saw his letter.
Yeah,
I think
okay, I thought we were asking, I thought we'd asked him for something like a press release or something he could give us.
We did, but I don't think we ever got that. We got that letter that we talked about and didn't
Yeah.
really make a decision on,
It wasn't really in the form of a, you know.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
If we could chase that, maybe.
We have the job description for the police chief.
Job description for police chief.
We did get
And
notified of a,
more on the crosswalk too.
right, we got notified of a budget roundtable coming up as well.
Oh, that's right. Can we have the highway department and the building department next week?
They're coming, yes.
They both sent it in, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Any further business to come before the board? Hearing, seeing none.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
aye,
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
bye, thank you.